Hello, and thank you for joining me for this demonstration on how to configure changes to queues within the Horizon Contact admin portal. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the proper process you'll need to follow in order to locate the queues within the Horizon Contact admin console, and also how to make changes to things like queue parameters or like the advanced settings within the queue. So how many calls a queue can take, whether we offer callback on the queue, whether we allow wrap up time on the queue, how to assign classification codes to queues, and how to assign agent groups to queues as well. So just general maintenance of a queue within the sort of day-to-day changes that you may need to make. So as you can see on my screen, I'm currently logged into the Horizon Contact admin portal, and I'm just going to select the More Options top left corner of the screen. Under the Call Handling subsection, I'm just going to scroll down to Queues, and then within here, I'll select my demo queue, and then we can see, now that I'm on the queue, a bunch of different options or tabs with different configurable options that are available to me. Now, under the Basic tab, this is where you assign the name, and it's also where you apply the group that will be taking calls for this particular queue. This is a voice queue, so we've assigned the group of users that will be taking calls for this queue. Underneath that, we can also apply which classification codes we want to be available to that group of users by checking them on and off. Okay. And if we had an agent script that we wanted the agents to relay whenever they answer a call for this queue, we could apply that to this as well. The next tab along brings us into the groups, whereby we could apply up to 5 different groups or agent groups to a queue and use them as overflow groups, providing they match various parameters. We could select all of these parameters or just a couple of them at a time. Okay. So the idea being that should no one in the, let's say, for example, should no one in group 1 be available? So let's say we tick this box, then we would apply group 2 to be, the group that would then be presented with the call to this particular queue. So you can do that a further 4 times from your original group. And again, you just sort of select the parameter that you want to use as to why you're overflowing. The next section is audio that we're going to look at. So audio is defining messages that play on the queue. The A party announcement is an uninterruptible message that plays to callers as soon as they reach the queue. So this could be like a welcome message that we want to force the callers to listen to. Again, when you select this drop down, all this is doing is leveraging your list of audio files that you have uploaded or configured via text to speech. So then once you've got that list of audio files available on your system, you just choose the file that you want to apply to the particular section within the queue. B party announcements play to your agent. So, it's like a little, could be used as agent whisper. For example, this call is from the project engineering demo queue, as an example. If you want to find out more information about what the various options are, just select the question mark top right corner, and then you'll get a description of what each one is for. The next section we're going to look at is the KPIs option. So within here, we can set some KPIs. Now, you can be alerted via email. If you don't have a Horizon Contact supervisor license, you won't get the real-time alerts within the Horizon Contact supervisor portal. So it would only be via email alert to an email address. But you can change things in here. So, you might want to say, okay, if there are less than X amount of agents available, then send me a notification to tell me this. And you can update the measurement threshold at the top of the option there. Again, the question mark will provide you with more information regarding what each of the different KPIs are used for. So you can check that out by pressing the question mark. The advanced option allows us to manage things like queue length. So at the minute, this is set to a maximum of 10 callers. Should the 11th caller reach the queue, they will either be presented with engaged tone or they'll follow an overflow route that we've configured within the call flow for the main number. But here we're throttling the number of calls that we want to wait within the queue at any one time. Bit further down, you can see some options like wrap up times. So do we want to give the agent a allotted amount of time after each call from the queue? And then if so, how long? Do we want to give them any extension time? So maybe a bit longer, 30 seconds. And do we want them to be able to select that a couple of times? So these are just configurable options for wrap up on this particular queue. So these are applied. This is automatically applied after the end of a call. This extra 30 seconds is applied by the agent manually. So they choose to boost their wrap up time by 30 seconds, and they can do that 2 times. You can then choose whether or not you do that for outbound calls or not. There's also some options in here for things like enabling simultaneous ringing. If you don't have that enabled, it will call the longest available agent first, and then if they don't answer, it will move on to the next longest available agent. But the idea being that it will always try and route the call to the longest available person so that you've got a bit more of an even distribution of calls. There's also an option in here for things like allow calls to wait in the queue should no agents be handling it. So if that was off, then no calls would be able to wait whilst if no agents were logged in. So all calls come in would again either go to engaged tone or they follow a busy tone. Follow a busy overflow route. The additional options in here, miscellaneous, so total number of calls, that would be calls waiting in the queue, plus calls that are being handled, maximum wait time in the queue, outdial time is how long it calls out, how long it rings on the agent before it moves on to the next one. So we've got various options in here that you can manage. Again, the question mark top right hand corner of the screen will provide you with more information on the various options within here so you can decide whether or not you need to make a change to those metrics. The announcement tab allows you to toggle on and off updated position in queue or estimated wait time. So again, we might want to say we want to play an updated position in queue message, but only when the initial position is greater than 0. And then we might say play that after each iteration of hold music is completed. And if there are more than, if your position number 7, we might say just play play something else instead. Play maybe the default queue music rather than giving the position in queue, because we don't want to tell people that are waiting, in position, let's say 15, for example, in the queue. We don't want them to know that they're 15th in the queue. So we can specify, if anyone's higher than X amount or X position, then just play hold music until they can't fall within this parameter, so between 0 and position 7. We can do the same sort of thing with estimated queue time as well. So again, just same idea behind the queue position, just with time instead. Again, question mark top right hand corner of the screen will help you with some of the information on the various options on the announcements tab. The callbacks tab allows us to configure callback parameters. We have actually covered this in a separate video, so we won't go over this within here, but to update your callback configuration, you'll just do that on the queue under the callback tab. If you need to add a new queue for any reason, you can do that by selecting add. And again, you just got to follow all of the required fields within the queue when you're creating a new queue. The only thing you would need to do in addition to that is make that queue available. So you would probably need to go and edit a call flow to say, if this number is called, go to this queue, for example. In the most part, once the queues are configured, we don't tend to need to create more and more queues, but there may be reason for that. Depending on your circumstances. Again, if you need any assistance for that, you can always contact the Opus customer support desk for assistance on creating new queues. In this video demonstration, we have looked at how to edit existing queues, where to find those queues, and a lot of the parameters that are available on the queues for you to make changes to. Also, where to find the help information regarding the various fields that we're looking at, so that you can then decide whether you need to make a change to that field or not. Thank you for watching this demonstration.